Welcome back to another Simple Truth. Funny thing about down here at the Epicenter with Drash Ministries, the last few days, spent a lot of time being stuck in places, right? God is just really speaking. God is really teaching. God is convicting in the middle of it. Like that you can, I wish you were down here and you could really just feel the atmosphere right now, because while there is a fan blowing on me, the Holy Spirit is just working all over and has been all morning, just crazily here. Again, it's been like a 2, 3, 4 week thing of God just showing up and being like, hey, let's go. And you're seeing, hopefully in our videos, the excitement in people as they're teaching, right? Like they're just excited about God. So chapter 40 in Genesis, we're talking about Joseph, right? We talked a lot about Joseph last week. We talked about sometime later, sometime after this, right? And really challenged on you on this. Let me finish that thought process because I didn't get there. It says this: sometime after this, the cupbearer, right, of the king of Egypt and his baker committed an offense against their lord, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in the custody of the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison where Joseph was confined. Now, isn't that funny? We get this mixture, right? We go from Joseph running a prison to now Joseph is confined, right? So God's making it very clear to us that while Joseph's getting all this blessing, he's doing all this kind of stuff, he's confined, right? I've been talking about that a lot lately, about being confined. I've been talking about the fact that you can be in a place and you can be doing good things, right? And you can be seeing the work of the Holy Spirit. You can be seeing all kinds of things, but you're being confined. The truth of the matter is God's looking down and he's saying, listen, I love that you're making the best out of this, but you're being confined. I have more work for you to do, or have work for you to do in a different way. I asked a gentleman down here today, hey, are you being called to the ministry? Immediately, we go to qualifications for pastoral ministry. I don't know why we do that, because that's not at all what I asked. I asked if you were being called to the ministry. So then the next question, or the next answer is, well, isn't everybody called to ministry? And the answer to that is, yep, everybody's called to ministry. So then my question, because I'm not really good at just letting things go, is, well, are you called to full-time ministry, right? Well, all of us are called to full-time ministry is the answer I would have liked to hear, right? But instead it was, well, maybe. Like now they're getting it, right? But the problem is I don't feel like I'm prepared. I don't feel like I'm educated. I don't feel like I have qualifications. And they're like, wait, how do you know that you're not qualified for what God had you? What exact qualification did Joseph have to leading a prison? Like, did he go to prison leading school? Did he go to any kind of leadership school? Right? Did he go to Pharaoh's training academy for prison guards? Like, what did he go to? Nope, he was in God's training program, right? So I want to make this really, really clear. There's man's training program, that which makes sense to man. How about if you go get a degree, then you come to seminary for 3 years. Oh, by the way, it doesn't really matter what degree you get. Just go get a 4-year degree. Then you can go to seminary for 3 years, and we'll teach you how to pastor people. I shudder to think what Paul would think about that. 7 years of education, 4 of which can be anything you want, right? I can do basket weaving, and then I just go to seminary for 3 years, and they teach me how to be a pastor, when the Bible is very clear that pastoral ministry is a calling, right? It's an office that we can fulfill, but people are called to that. Not everybody should want to be a teacher, is what Paul says, because there's a problem. You're going to be held accountable for what you teach, right? So again, listen, the Old Testament is filled with people who didn't go to school to be a prophet, right? They didn't go to school to be a king. They didn't go to school to build an ark. They didn't go to school to lead the people out of Egypt. They went to the academy of God, right? A lot of times we call that Hard Knocks Academy, right? But they went to where God had them. They were exactly where God wanted them. They learned the things that God wanted them to learn. And then God pulled them out and he called them to something, right? The truth is, Joseph needed to be able to fulfill his dream of leading people. Where was Joseph going to get that education? By being the 11th out of 12 brothers? Right? Do you think that he was going to get leadership opportunities in his family? Nope, he wasn't going to get them there. So God came up with a very unique training regimen, one that you and I would never want. Right? Like, here's the deal. Like, there are people that I bet that have been attached to me, and they're like, oh, this is a very weird training regiment. Why did God attach me to this person? I could be going anywhere, doing anything. Why is God down here? Why does he have me here? Why does he have me doing these things, right? Because God has you in a training regiment, right? But understand that in this regiment, Joseph was confined. God's about ready. And when I say that, I mean, for such a time as this, later on in life, God is about ready to unconfine Joseph. He's going to go from a prison. We know the whole story. He's going to go from prison to palace, right? That's Disney. They make a lot of money off of those stories. Right? This is a true biblical story. God's training regiment is about ready to get him where God wanted him to go. But do you think that Joseph's thinking any of this stuff? Nope. Because Joseph is what? He's confined to where he is. So let me make this clear if I can. You and I might feel like we're confined in a moment. You and I might feel like we're confined in a place, right? You and I might feel like we're confined in a situation. You and I might feel like we're confined in a relationship. We can fight against that confinement all we want, or we can take the boundaries and the parameters that God has given us for such a time as this and understand that somewhere along the line, he will change those. He will break us out of confinement when he decides to do that. So here's my simple truth, which I still have not got to the place where I want to get to. So we're now 2 simple truths into trying to figure out how to get where I want to go. But here's my question for you today. Confinement. Do you feel confined? And what are you doing with your confinement? More importantly, who are you learning to be in your confinement? We'll see you next time. Simple truth.